People often attribute a strong level of influence to pictures and visual images. However, words can be just as, if not more, effective. Words, and more generally language, are one of the most powerful devices at our disposal in society. The privilege of using and comprehending language is often taken for granted, and therefore, people underappreciate the strength attributed to even the simplest of words. However, words do carry a great deal of prevalence, as can be seen in many examples. First of all, there is the censorship and banning of books, such as notable works like The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn by Mark Twain and The Grapes of Wrath by John Steinbeck. While television shows are getting high ratings for showing nearly pornographic images, and rappers sell thousands of albums for tossing around the N-word, these works of literature are banned from libraries, schools, and bookstores for describing the same situations and stating the same slang terms in a display of dialect. This displays the extreme power of words and the threat that they supposedly pose to society. It would appear that the explicit pictures would be considered more corrupting and threatening, but more uproar is directed towards the simple words.
When describing her reaction to some fashions, an entirely different sort of picture, Ingrid Siskey of the New York Times told readers that we've all experienced an image that makes us speechless. Maybe something unbelievably beautiful did it. Maybe it was something so loony, or hideous, or so offensive that words failed, she said. Think of the first images of Earth that we saw captured from outer space. Think of the first time you saw a picture of Miley Cyrus's VMA costume. Think of a grandparent seeing their new grandchild for the first time. Think of a wife seeing a PI's surveillance photos starring her husband and his new mistress. What do you say when you're confronted with images like these ones? Maybe the image was something horrible. Take, for example, Masood Hosseini's Pulitzer Prize-winning image of a young Afghan girl drenched in the blood of the wounded and dead around her, while she watches and screams. What can you say? Sometimes photographs truly leave people at a loss for words. And even then, photographs pale in comparison to real-life events and actually seeing and experiencing them for yourself. The experience is worth much more than the picture in words and
Does this make all pictures worth 1,000 words? If I take an image of a blank wall, could you come up with 1,000 words to describe it? A picture alone can be very misleading or harmful. For example, the iconic Kiss photo taken for Life magazine by Alfred Eisenstadt. This photo is associated with the ending of World War II. Recently, this image has been scrutinized on the discovery that the sailor in the image did not know the nurse, and once hearing that the war was over, he grabbed her and kissed her, which in today's standards would be considered sexual harassment. Propaganda is another example of dangerous imagery that can be detrimental to society.
Propaganda is a word that is thrown around a lot, particularly in the realm of political rhetoric, with a mostly negative connotation. In the dictionary, it is listed as derogatory. It refers to information disseminated in one way or another, usually through visual means like posters or TV and film, in order to promote a specific point of view or political idea. The dangers of propaganda were apparent during the Holocaust, as Nazi Germany released films and posters depicting Jews as rats while using doctors to convince their citizens that Jewish people were inferior humans. Nazis weren't the only people to use propaganda, however. Propaganda has been a huge part of American politics for years. The famous Uncle Sam I Want You poster is a clear example of political propaganda, trying to almost guilt the seer into joining the U.S. Army. Almost every political campaign advertisement is propaganda in its own right, particularly the attack ads that present only one side of an issue in order to make themselves seem more appealing.